For the first time, beautiful people, I decided to use groundnut, like roasted groundnut, to make this peanut butter soup or groundnut soup right from scratch. And I want to share the process with you that you don't necessarily need the groundnut paste to have a an authentic Ghanaian groundnut soup. So I have with me here my chicken that I've cleaned and washed nicely. This is a whole chicken, a local one. And then this spice blend, I have recipes of that. It's a combination of onions, ginger, pepper, garlic that I blended and put in cubes and froze for purposes like this. All the spices that I'm adding to this too, I've shared recipes of them, so kindly check on them. Now I'll just go ahead and measure about 2 cups of groundnuts, and then I will blend this in my grinder. Okay, this will not blend it smooth, but roughly chop it. Okay, you can do everything in your blender, but I do this because I have this grinder that will sort of crush it for me first. So I added water to my blender, and then I added the crushed granules to it. I didn't add a lot of water because I want this to blend smoothly. Okay, so it's very important that you know that if you add a lot of water, you may not have a smooth blend. So after it was blended nicely, I'm just adding enough water to dilute it because I would have to cook this down. Okay, so I added that water and then blended it away again, and I will be pouring out the blended mix in my saucepan. I'll go ahead and wash it with some water, rinse my blender with some water, and then put this on fire. So while this is on fire, I'll be stirring continuously from time to time while I would also check on my chicken. Now to my chicken, I'll be adding some carrots and some other veggies to cook with. Okay, so the carrots and then the onions are hard and they take time to cook, so I'll be adding that to the chicken right from the start. Again, not forgetting my peanut mix, stirring from time to time until it becomes thick. So two things are happening while I'm checking up on this. I'm also doing this. Okay, so after stirring, my chicken and making sure that all the spices are nicely mixed, I'm adding in some tomatoes and some red bell peppers that I have. Okay, and then I'll continue to cook our peanut butter. That we want it to be thick, get to the point where you have some oil forming on top. So at a point it begins to splatter, lower the fire, and then cover this to prevent the splatter. Now my tomatoes are nicely cooked. As you can see, I've swapped my fire, and so I'm taking out all the veggies that I added to this. Okay, all the veggies, and I'll go ahead. I'm using hard chicken, just so you know, so that takes longer to cook. It doesn't become soft easily, and that is what most Ghanaians prefer for their soup. Now you see this egg, it's going right into my mouth. It's so nice when it gets to this stage. Okay, so now the blended ingredients, I'll go ahead and strain it back onto my chicken, and but I'll rinse the blender. Okay, because I want the chicken to absorb everything nicely. I mean, I would need a lot of water later, so I'll save the blender for that. So I'll just go ahead and stir this nicely, cover it for it to continue to cook while I check on my granules. And this is what we have. We don't have a lot of oil. Sometimes it really depends on the type of granules that you are using. If you are using granules with so much oil, you see a lot of oil forming on top. But this particular one, there wasn't much oil forming on this. And in case you're wondering, I steamed the chicken with some pepper, ginger, garlic. Okay, and I didn't need that at this point. But when I was blending my veggies, there was one thing that I skipped. I added some fresh ginger to the veggies that I bought. Okay, the one that I bought, I added some fresh ginger to it before sieving it. So that was something I mixed. And once I add the granuts to the meat, and I diluted it with the water that I used to wash the blender. I just have to let this cook down. Okay, so when you are seeing oil forming on top of it like this, it means it's ready. I've added some basil, some scotch bonnet pepper for some flavor, and this worked perfectly. I was like, let me just try and use roasted granuts, so that if you don't have granite paste, then you have roasted granite, you can still have a very yummy, delicious, authentic Ghanaian granite soup without stress. Just follow the steps that I've showed you, and you would really love the outcome. Okay, so let me know if you try this, and kindly support me by hitting that like button and subscribing to my channel. I'll see you again in another video. Bye.